Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here at Yeshiva Samanavshi, here in Yerushalayim, Yer Kodesh. We're located in the Halihi Yeshiva's Bet Knesset in Rehov Zekin Yaakov. We're close to the Central Bus Station, so you can walk, drive, bus. And if you're coming from Chutz La'aretz, certainly fly in to join us for our shirin. We're learning Mishna Berura now. Halachas which are relevant to interruptions that take place in the middle of Kriya Shema and or Shmona Esrei and other aspects of davening, for example, Hallel, even Birkas Hamazon. We'll be discussing each thing in its place. Now we're just trying to understand the definitions and the situations which are considered interruptions and those situations which are considered oinus, involuntary interruptions, and besides that, a further delineation of oinus being an oinus which is machmas because of a ikuv, something which is preventing a person because of his bodily situation or his environmental situation, as opposed to some other non-environmental situation which is, let's put it in this way, it's non-halakha, meaning let's say a sakana, something like that, meaning the difference between, let's say, a situation of sakana is that according to the pure halacha you could really continue saying Shema or davening, right? That there's no halacha that's telling you that you have to stop davening, right? But if there's a situation with his goof, let's say he has to use the facilities, or let's say there was a foul odor or there was urine in his vicinity of davening or Shmona Esrei, Shema, then he's not going to be able to continue mitzad halacha. So that's what the Magen Avraham considered to be an oinus gomer mitzad the person or the environment, which really makes a complete break in the situation of saying Shema, the situation of davening. When there's a sakana, so the situation is still a time of davening, it's a time of Shema, but because of the situation of sakana, he can't, or let's say something's disturbing him, right? There's something on his mind which is disturbing him and he can't concentrate well enough, so therefore he has to stop to gain his concentration. So in terms of halacha, pure halacha, there's nothing stopping him from continuing in davening. So it's not a real hefsek, interruption in the actual davening, in the actual saying of Shema. So we'll see this again in the Mishna Berura. One more time, the Mechaber. I'll read the Mechaber and then we'll go again and read the Mishna Berura one more time. The Mechaber says as follows: Torah Seirugim, a person's going to read Kriya Shema in a intermediate fashion, chopped up fashion. Hainu, what does that mean? Shehitki likros, he began to read Kriya Shema and he interrupted and stopped. Ben b'shtika, ben b'dibur, whether he stopped through being silent, whether he stopped through being speaking. Chazer, what should he do? He has to chazer ugamra, and according to our understanding, he has to, according to the mechaber that is, he has to go back to the place he left off. He doesn't have to begin from the beginning again. He goes back to the place he stopped, and he finishes until he completes his Shmona Israel in this case. Even if he stopped the amount of time it would take to start and finish the entire Kriya Shema or davening, Shmona Esrei, he is still Yotzi. Even if they interrupt him because of a involuntary, he was compelled to stop through some other type of some other reason. The Yesh Omrim of the Ramah and the Haggah says as follows: the Ima Haya Oinus, if there's a Oinus, the Hipsik, and he interrupted Keilig more as Kula Choizer Lurosh. He has to go back to the beginning. So according to the Ramah, not like the Mechaber, right? If he made a interruption because of an oinus, and he interrupted enough time to start and finish the whole of, in this case, Shema Yisrael, the 3 paragraphs, he'll have to go back to the very beginning. Right? And that's the minhag according to the Ramah, Ashkenazi. Let's now see the Mishna Berura. We did this last week, well, let's go over it again. There are a lot of details here. Any questions, please speak up. Let me know what's not clear. Sit, cut, and base in the Mishna Berura. Lauren, would you like to read first to begin with? Thank you. Yes.
This is because of an onus? Okay.
This is the Ramah again, right?
Right? Okay. Time, Tamem, the reasons, the Mishlaim lo haya honest.
Where are you?
So you've cut and paste in the Mishna Berura. Samech Hey, Sivkat and Beis in the Mishna. Ever have it?
Tamem, the Mishlaim lo haya honest. If there was not a compelling reason, Shim haya rotze haya yachal legros. If you want to continue reading, saying Krishma, you can continue saying it. Lo hari hashtika v'afil hadibor hefsek. Not only is silence a hefsek, but even speaking would be an interruption.
It would not be. Lo havi
Lo havi.
shtika, meaning, let's say, if this is a definition of oinus now, that the reason is, according to the Ramah, that you have to go back and start again if you took so long to start and finish, that if he's going back through the opposite, right? Let's say there was no oinus, right? There was nothing compelling him to stop, but he stopped, right? He stopped without compulsion, he stopped. And meaning that if he wanted to continue reading Kriya Shema, he would be able to continue Kriya Shema. So there's nothing compelling him to stop. So if that would be the case, then neither would his shtika nor his dibor be a hefsek. It's a little anti-logical. Why? Because you would think if he's stopping for no reason, what's this fellow doing? He's daydreaming. Let's say he's in the middle of Kriya Shema and he fell asleep. Right? Woke up early in daven Nate, he was very tired. Woke up late, middle of Kriya Shema, fell asleep.
Shavuos morning. Shavuos morning.
Yeah, yeah, very common, very common. In the middle of Shema, and all of a sudden, they're holding by Kriyas Ruth. Where have you been? Where have you been the last half hour? So, if it wasn't for the fact of an oinus, right? That had he stood up and decided to be misgaber and not fall asleep, so he would have been able to continue. Nothing was forcing him to make an interruption, right? Nothing was forcing him to make an interruption. So in that case, if that's not considered an oinus, then in fact he should be able to continue, right? Because the shtika, and even if he spoke out, right, it's not considered to be a hefsek. Nothing's stopping him from completing his Kriya Shema. He has a mitzvah Kriya Shema. Nothing is stopping him from completing his mitzvah Kriya Shema.
No matter what.
He can say it under all circumstances because there's no onus, right? No onus. He's not onus.
What happens if someone has diarrhea?
That would be an onus. That's what we're going to see in the Mishna Berura. A very good example. A very good example, right? It says, "I will continue."
What's the difference between onus and onus?
There are two different types of onus. There's an onus which is within your control.
You're saying falling asleep is not an onus, and diarrhea isn't an onus.
Right.
What's? I mean, they both have the same halacha.
No.
If you need to go to the bathroom, you are halachically forbidden from davening.
Okay. So
If you fall asleep,
if you stop,
if you fell asleep, then you aren't forbidden from davening. You just stopped.
but you still are going to stop from wherever you stopped.
You're right. According to the what we're learning now, right? If falling asleep is something which is not what we consider an oinus gomer, meaning it's inside his body, right? If you consider falling asleep not because there's nothing in halacha, there's no halachic aspect about falling asleep which forbids you from saying Kriya Shema. Right? But let's say a person has to go to the bathroom, so halachically is forbidden to say Kriya Shema now.
But we saw when we were learning Shemona Esrei that if you fell asleep during Shemona Esrei, you have to go back to the beginning. The rule is different between Kriya Shema and Shemona Esrei.
Yeah, we'll be getting to Shemona because it's a flip between.
Let's stick with Kriya Shema. In Kriya Shema, what's the difference between the same consequence is whether it's an onus or not onus?
What do you mean by consequence?
If you fall asleep and you wake up and and you see that you're by Vayom Hashem, you could from Vayom Hashem. So the ownership, you also could from Vayom Hashem.
Let's try and use an example. Let's say a guy's driving on the highway, okay? And he's very tired. And he pulls over and falls asleep. Okay? He knows it's a sakana to continue driving, and he knows better than to try and push himself. Pulls over, right? Maybe there's a rest stop, right? Goes to sleep. Pulls in the parking lot. Goes to sleep, right? Now, and let's say a person has to use the facilities. He's got, it's another 20. Next rest stop, 55 miles. Well, he's not going to last another hour.
And
right?
now you both are in the middle of Krishma at this time. No?
Yeah, you can apply the Krishma, exactly. If you want to apply, yeah. Do you see there's a difference between the two situations?
But the reality of Krishma is the same.
The reality that you made a hefsek in Krishma is correct. You did make a hefsek in Krishma, 100%. That reality exists in both situations.
You're up to Vayom Hashem, and you fall asleep.
Right.
You wake up. What do you do?
According to what we're learning now, starts with Vayom Hashem and continue.
You pull the rest up because you have to go to the bathroom, and you're up to Vayom Hashem.
Right.
What do you do?
Have to start Shema Yisrael all the way at the beginning. Two different halachas.
So an onus that's forcing you to stop is more severe.
Yes, exactly. Right. That's exactly what the Mishna was telling us. Meaning, it's really turning out to be a kula, because not every onus are you obligated to start again from the beginning. There are some onusing, compelling situations, involuntary situations, which you're not going to be required to go back to the beginning, even though you stopped long enough to start and finish the whole of Kriya Shema. So it's really turning out to be a kula.
And this doesn't matter if the time that it takes for you to Kriya Shema didn't go by it.
No, this is all in the realm of that the time did go by. Let's say your normal Shema takes 3 minutes, right? Right? Your normal, so that's the amount of time you have a right, because of an oinus, to make an interruption in Kriya Shema. 3 minutes. If you go beyond that, right? So then you have to decide what type of an interruption was it.
So if you finish what you have to do in the bathroom under 3 minutes, you would still continue from Vayom Hashem.
If you did it under 3 minutes, right? Start from where you left off. Exactly. A lot of details here. That's why I didn't want to go into charging into Shemona Esrei, because until we get the background of Shema, right? There are even more details by Shemona Esrei than by Shema. So I felt it necessary to go back and do this in Samekei, because we have to know these basics, that there are different situations, and the halakha is going to be different depending on the situation. So let's start again. Let's look at it again together and sit cut and base in the Mishna Berura.
Time?
Yeah, go ahead.
To be sure, even though Haya honest, if there's not a compelling reason to stopping, Shim Haya wrote say Haya Yochel grows, that if he wanted to keep saying it, he would have been able to. Lo have a hashtika. Not only is silence not a hefsek, but I feel a deeper hefsek. The deeper it also isn't a hefsek.
Right. So neither is shtika nor is dibur a hefsek. Right.
Okay. Aval ba'onis kashiva, but for a compelling reason, haisha hashia hefsek, then the waiting is going to be interruption. Kiven shelo haya ajah holikos, because he is not able to say Kriya Shema.
Right. So that's the definition of an oinus, a hefsek, which is going to cause you to go back. If you're not able likros, it's not possible for you likros, right? And not like again. Let's say. I mean, I don't want to give too many examples because it's going to be difficult. Meaning, let me put it like this: let's say a person started sneezing, starts getting a sneezing fit for 3 minutes. He couldn't continue for 3 minutes, right? Would you say that's something that is a that is a onus, what we call an onus gomer, meaning he'll have to start back again at the beginning, or it's going to be like the first category where he wouldn't have to go back?
He shouldn't have to go back.
Okay,
Should not have.
Because why? Because why? How do you look at this case as he has a sneezing fit?
Had he not been sneezing, he would have completed his Kriya Shema without a problem.
Right.
I have this problem all the time in the fall because I have terrible hay fever.
Ah.
If I start sneezing, I will literally go for 5 minutes without being able to stop.
So you, had he not had to go to the bathroom, he would have completed.
No. But see, if I go to the bath, because my body says I have to go to the bathroom, I cannot say. There's a halacha that says I can't say Shema at that point. It has nothing to do with how long it is. Because you have to go to the bathroom, you can't say Shema. There's it's a different halacha that says you can't say Kriya Shema at that point. Had I stopped sneezing, I would have been able to continue Kriya Shema without a problem. Nobody said I couldn't do it. I'm sneezing. It's hard to concentrate while I'm sneezing. It's a completely different issue. Okay.
See, now, yeah, right. So meaning the fact that the person has to urinate is a bodily condition. The fact that the person sneezing is also a bodily condition. But when you look at it with halacha, right, the halacha is looking at it. The bodily condition forbids you to say Kriya Shema, but in terms of the sneezing fit, there's no halacha which forbids you to say the Shema. Okay.
So if you were able to say Kriya Shema while you were going through,
It would have been fine. It would have been fine. It's hard to do that, but trust me, it's very hard to do that. I've been asked to quietly remove myself to stop disturbing everybody else at the same time.
Okay. So like these definitions are very, very what we call dak. They're very delicate and highly refined distinctions.
There's a din of a guf naki, a clean body at the time you say Kriya Shema, at the time you say Shemon Esrei. You have to go to the bathroom, you don't have a guf naki. You have to sneeze, it has nothing to do with the guf naki. It doesn't affect your guf naki at that point. And that's why they're different cases.
Right. I am Magen Avraham. Do we have the place?
About 5 lines in?
Yeah.
4 lines in, right?
4 lines.
I have been Magen Avram. You look in the Magen Avram. Shehamasa, the interruption.
That he concludes.
He concludes the dafka im haones hu machmas shehaish eno roi kagon shehurtza linekevov. That in order to specifically because the person is not able to say Kriya Shema, like he needs to use the facilities.
Right. So he gives you meaning. So it could be you without the words of the Mishna Berura quoting the Magen Avraham, you might say a sneezing fit is like a person he's not fit. You could say, but the Kagon is right. The Kagon is that is hutzrach lenaka, meaning it's a halakhic aspect which is being interjected over here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, another case.
Shemakam enu roi kagon shemotza sham soa omer raglayim, or the place itself is not a place where you can daven because there is soa omer raglayim there.
Right. The halachas forbids you to say words of Torah at that point. So halachically you must stop. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's something which is not simply beyond your control physically, but it's beyond your control. The halach is telling you to stop. So therefore, that's going to be an einus which you have to go back to the beginning if it was that much time took place.
The tzarek lishos had she yotzian. You have to stop until it's cleaned up, or you move far enough away that it's not doesn't affect you anymore.
Right, halakhically, meaning you have to dalet amas for color reach and all the halakhas.
What's soa and raglayim?
Soa is feces, meraglayim is urine.
Right, so if that's in your dalet amas, or the smell of it is within your dalet amas, and you have to go eat another dalet amas from when the smell finishes, so you're forbidden to speak, even think divrei Torah.
Somebody brings a baby to shul and the baby dirties his diaper.
Yeah.
Then you need to move away from. You need to either have the baby be removed from shul, or you need to move away from it.
Yeah, sure. At one point, I was davening in a facility for handicapped individuals, but they were able to daven, right? But nevertheless, they sometimes had accidents. So there was always a pitcher of water right there by the shots, that in case anything happened on the floor, you can just put a revis of mayim into meiraglayim, and it's mavatli. So you don't have to take the time to get a sponge and clean it up and everything like that.
This is a very big onus, and you have to take the
Excuse
time.
me, what?
It's a very big onus, and you have to take the time to.
Of course.
If we had stuff at the beginning.
It depends on the onus. That's what we're learning about. It depends on the onus.
Aval onus acher, but other interruptions are
Compelling situations,
Compelling
involuntary situations.
Kagon Machmas listed.
Now you
Now,
the time depends on any onus.
No, the onus is the interruption is because of an onus, right? And that time, let's say your regular time to say Kriya Shema takes 3 minutes, right?
Oh.
So it depends if the onus is causing you an interruption of 3 minutes or not, okay? And then it'll depend on what type of onus it'll be, whether you have to return to the beginning or not.
if it's less than 3 minutes, it's ignorable. Whatever it is ignorable. It's only if you have to stop more than the norm. If the interruption is more than your time for saying Kriya Shema.
I just understood you that an onus is something like bathroom or being attacked by.
No, we didn't mention about being attacked. We were getting up to that. That will not be. Again, oinus which causes you to go back is an oinus which is randomly, it makes it impossible for you to continue halachically to say the words of Shema or to daven. In halacha, you are forbidden to speak words of Torah.
That's not onus, it's like falling asleep.
No, that's not an onus of falling asleep. Falling asleep is a different type of an onus.
So there, in an onus category, there are some onuses that would not make you go back.
Yes, exactly. That's the example. Continue. I will onus akir. That's exactly where we're up now. You see where it says? I think in my editions, the first 3 words of the line, about
Yeah.
5 lines up for the bottom. I will onus akir. Another onus, which is not halakhically,
Right.
according to Jewish law, causing you to stop saying words of Torah or prayer.
Kagon Machmas listim v'chai, such as robbers coming into shul or something similar to that, which halachically doesn't affect you. I mean, there's no halachic reason why you can't keep saying Kriya Shema at that point. Now, because the lesson came, you may have to stop. And they say, your arm's up and give us your money, you're going to stop. Okay? But that was, in some sense, not a halachic reason for you to stop. So you're allowed to continue from wherever you were interrupted. You just, whatever the word was, you go to the next word and just keep going. Okay? Hare kamosh shasak b'ratzon is that if you decided to stop and you want to save your life, so you decided to stop. So it's a perfectly good reason to interrupt for the time. The lo chashiv hefsek ladasu, and it's not, therefore it's not considered a hefsek.
Oh, that's so again. This is the delineation between an onus in let's call it a halakhic onus, right? A legal onus, or a situational onus. That the onus was a situation was some type of situation was causing you to stop, sneezing, listening. There might be a very exciting thing going on, a parade outside. And let's say he's only a bacher, he's a 14-year-old. He's still a kid. And he wants to see what's going on outside. So
If the cars going by with the loudspeakers, come out of the vaya.
So there's nothing stopping you in halacha from continuing in Kriya Shema. You're even though you might be compelled to stop for good reasons or bad reasons. Nevertheless, there's no halacha which is compelling you to stop. But if it's a halacha which is compelling you to stop, then you have to start again. If it took longer than start to finish of the Shema. Now this is dafka b'Kriya Shema.
Dafka b'Kriya Shema u'b'berachos secha u'v'hai gavin. This is specifically for Kriya Shema and its brachas and things like that, which we talked last week were basically just the brachas arikas, the long brachas, maybe benching. About tefillah, chozer l'rosh afilu ba'onos acher. But if you're davening for any interruption, you go back to the beginning.
So
Any interruption more than it would take you to finish, then you go back to the beginning. Again, din is different for Kriya Shema and for tefillah. כמו שיספור לקיימון בסif kofdalad, as we'll explain in sif kofdalad.
So we'll be getting back to that, right?
Ayin sham Mishna Berura, sif katan tes zayin.
Okay, good. Now, this is also, these next couple of Mr. Book are also very important. So far, is it clear so far?
Yeah.
Good.
Now you explain it.
Okay.
Good. No, again, this is not. Don't think this is easy. This takes a little bit of time to you have to understand there are different levels of what's being spoken about. And again, don't forget we're all in the shittas of the Ramah right now, according to the Mechaber, right? In all, whatever the onus is, you always just pick up from where you start. Okay. Okay. Let's see the next couple of Mishnah.
Okay, Gimel.
Yep.
They ligmar, the amount of time it would take you to finish. Hainu merosh ve'ad sof afilu omed besof. This is from beginning to end. And I assume for Kriya Shema, this is the 3 paragraphs of Kriya
Yeah.
Shema?
Right. So it doesn't matter, even if you might be at the end, it's not how much time to take you from where you are to finish. It takes how much time in general from the beginning to the end of your saying of the Kriya Shema. Okay? And you have to be Chozer l'Rosh.
What's that referring to?
That's how long that's the time, it's defining the time period. K'dei l'chal. It's K'dei ligmar. How long it takes you to say Kriya Shema from Shema Yisrael to that he's just defining what the time period of your Shia is. If it's more than that, you have to worry about it. If it's less than that, you don't have to worry about it.
Compared to what we just learned on base explained it very clearly. What's
No, but it didn't go into the details of where do you have to go back from? Meaning, where does this time limit of the amount of time it takes to begin to the end, where does that time limit mean? I could say, listen, of the 3 paragraphs of Kriya Shema, I'm at the beginning of the 3rd paragraph, right? So theoretically, I've completed 2/3 of Kriya Shema, right?
right?
So if my Shema takes 3 minutes, so I only have 1 more minute left to go. So is it that 1 minute's going to be, if I interrupt for 1 minute, will I now have to go back to the very beginning again? The answer is no, because you take the whole Shema as one complete unit, and how much time that takes to say from beginning to end. And that's how much time your interruption you're allowed, right? Not the interruption allowed for you to finish where you are now. Meaning if I'm at the end, it would take me only another minute to finish. That's not true, right? I can interrupt myself for 259 seconds, 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 59 seconds, right? I have that much allowable time to interrupt, not 60 seconds.
Right.
That's what the Mishnah Berura here in Sifkat.
You just tell me how long your interruption can be. Just define the time period for your interruption. Okay. Chozer, you go.
Go back to the beginning.
You go. You go back to the beginning. Chozer l'inyan dibur.
Di'evid.
Di'evid. This is sorry. Chozer l'inyan di'evid.
He's telling you that the going back. Don't think the going back says everything right. It's a di'evid situation. I mean, don't think a person can now, I'll make the interruption, I'll just go back and say it all again, and now I've got myself a perfect Shema. No, your Shema is not perfect. It's a b'di'evid Shema, right?
Okay.
Aval l'tefillah, this is what he's telling you. So don't.
Lo yifsak l'shaz k'dei ligmor kulo. You should not interrupt that long enough to complete.
Right.
Okay. Afilu shelo machmas onus, even if it is not because of a compelling reason.
Right, because don't a person shouldn't think, well, it's like I have permission to make an interruption, right? And so if I get a phone call in the middle, and you know, it's not Machmas halacha, I want to answer the phone. No one's stopping. No, they're not telling me I want to speak. No, don't think it's all b'diavad. If you do such thing like that, it's b'diavad. And look at Yol Yafsik. You shouldn't stop. Even less cooler.
V'afil shtika b'alma, even just being quiet. V'afil v'dvar shehu mid'Rabbanan, even if it is because of something because of the Rabbanan.
Meaning, even if you're in the middle of something which is midrabanan.
Oh, okay.
Meaning, what you don't think it's only a Kriyas Man which is deraisa, you shouldn't do this, right? Rather, it's even something which is a mitzvah derabanan, like as we say, birkas.
Birkas Kriyashma, which are the Rabbanan, the Hallel, the Megillah, the Chaygavda, or things similar to that.
Right. So don't think that you can just go ahead and make an interruption and say, well, you know what? I'll just let the time pass and I'll start again from fresh. That's b'diavad. You shouldn't do such a thing like that.
Okay. The Kolshkein, and certainly the Tefillah, when you're saying Shemona Esrei, Yesh L'Zahir Ma'od B'zeh, you have to be very careful about that. Ki Yesh Shemakmirin B'Tefillah Afilu B'diavad, because we're makmir about Tefillah even B'diavad.
We'll understand this better when we get back to davening, the Tchishma, because that even B'diavad, this is going to be, because it ruins the whole decorum which you have to have during Omer D'Fnei Melech. You'd never think of it. You're standing before a king or a judge or a policeman and start, you're talking to the policeman, he pulled you over, and you get a phone call. You're like, "Excuse me, officer. My wife wants to give me the grocery list." You could never think of doing such a thing like that.
Mashma b'divrei Magen Avram, l'chachila nachon l'zakir shelo Yinagin. This
is coming close to you. If you remember, I think you were that asked last week. Let's say you're at the end of the Kriya Shema and they take you a long time to say the Kriya Shema,
right.
And you finish and you're waiting there, Kedei Glass Kulo, right? So this is approaching your question. We'll do a couple of more lines and we'll have to stop, right? Just to hear your friend, we'll pick up with this tomorrow.
These friends had different types of illnesses.
Oh yes, many different times.
Okay. Nachon l'hazer shelo yinagin ashvik siva harbe brachas Kriya Shema, that l'chachila it is correct
to warn
the
Chazanim, they're gonna start singing. Menaging, they're gonna have they go into a lot of nigunim, the Berura Kriya Shema.
Okay. That he should not spend a long time.
Don't spend. He's telling me you should warn the tzibur, the Chazanim, that they shouldn't spend a lot of time singing during the Berura Kriya Shema.
Sheyeh behefsek ach echad b'dei ligmor. But if he's saying, even if he's singing, but he's saying the bracha, so that's not an interruption for him.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. But sha'az, next couple of words.
Okay. Sha'az.
Therefore.
It's tarchu.
Yeah, it's tarchu. It's required.
Hakahal lahafsik harbe b'shtika al yado. Therefore, because the congregation has to wait for.
This guy's going on and on. He's got a great voice and he's showing off and he's giving everybody everyone's in the seventh heaven over here. And meanwhile, everyone's waiting, and he's everyone's kedei ligmor kuloi. So he's put everyone in a really b'diavad situation over here. It's another story. No, I mean, you can have the same thing by Hallel also. Sometimes it could be a Hallel, and it could really. I'm not saying you shouldn't sing Hallel, but it could be that it's going to be. It was really menageh. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll have to stop here. We're in the middle of this, but that leads me to your question. That say I finished my Kriya Shema, and I said my Kriya Shema in 3 minutes, and the Indian takes this Shlatz. He's taking 6.5 minutes. So I just lost my Kedei Kliur. What should we do? Okay, we'll try and discuss this more tomorrow, Mr. Shem.
Is this problem if he's going to start making a concert in the middle of Krishna?
Yeah.
Or is it a problem if he wants to go, Oh Chadosh Atzio Hoito?
Right. So it'll depend. It'll depend if the minyan's waiting for him enough time that it's going to take. Let's say Berurah Kriya Shema. Let's say the first Berurah Kriya takes a minute and a half, right? And he's taking 6 minutes to say the first Berurah Kriya Shema, right? So everyone's waiting 5 minutes for him to finish up.
They have between brachas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're listening to him. He's putting on a great show. Beautiful, wonderful.
So
Everyone's
why-
accepting
why-
it.
why-
They can't make
what-
it
Well, we're going to go over this Mishna again. Well, tell me what you think.